right. Gonna be going live in just a second here. Running a little bit behind. Had some last minute adjustments to make. Trying to get out some more content. Looks like we already got someone in, so let's go ahead and get started. All right. Welcome back to WMMA Now with your host, Chuck Stevenson, and welcome to episode 138 of the WMMA Report regular show where we go over everything going on within the women's divisions of mixed martial arts. Tonight, we've got a lot of fights to cover. Okay, we have a ton of fights from this past weekend up to and including Invicta 49 last night. And then we've got a ton of fights to cover this weekend. Plus, we've got not a whole lot in the news, but certainly some interesting goings on in the news. So it's going to be a long stream, possibly, even without having a discussion topic. So let's get into it right away. We're going to start where we always start in the weekend results. So first up, we are going to Combate Global last Friday in Miami. Had two ladies bouts, including the headliner. But first, we had a bout. It was technically a 113-pound catchweight bout, where Jade Giron defeated Julia Quinello via unanimous decision, with Giron climbing to 2-2. The girl on the right, and Quinello on the left there, falling to 3-7. Not the most eventful fight, I'll be honest. Quinello just seemed really hesitant to engage. Like, it seemed like second and third rounds, it's like she barely threw at all. She barely threw strikes. Giron was trying to engage, but I think she could have tried a little bit harder. Maybe she just was having a hard time getting the range going on. But oh well. Then in the main event, had a bit of a grudge match here in the flyweight division, with Lucero, Loba, Acosta defeating Mariel, Sullivan via unanimous decision. Acosta climbed to 3-2. Sullivan fell to 2-2. I'll tell you what, I'll be honest, the fight wasn't as exciting as I was hoping it would be. Like, I was hoping they'd really just start going hard at each other. But I have to say that I appreciate the improvements that I've seen from both fighters. Both fighters tended to be really sloppy in the past. I mean, exciting, but sloppy and not very technical. Whereas both ladies in this fight showed a lot of technical improvement. It's like good technical improvement and a patience that they lacked in the past. And I think that those attributes are going to help each of them in the future. But as it is, currently the grudge match is settled. The Loba is the winner. And this episode of Combate did really well too. It averaged 750,000 viewers on Univision, so did really well. Then on early Sunday morning, we had Ryzen 38, the semifinals of the 2022 Super Atomweight Grand Prix. So both of these fights took place in the Super Atomweight division. First up, Shiyu Park pulled the upset, defeating Ayaka Hamasaki via unanimous decision. There's two stories really to this bout. One is that Shiyu Park's rise are absolutely undeniable. You also have to add that Ayaka Hamasaki is definitely slowing down with age, but she still fought very well out there. It's just Park's speed and power were way too much, and the takedown defense was absolutely on point in this fight as well. So Park moves on to the final, where she faces the winner of Seika Izawa versus Anastasia Svetkivska, which happened to be Seika Izawa, who defeated Svetkivska via submission due to armbar at 4 minutes, 56 seconds of the second round. Izawa stayed undefeated, climbing to 8-0. Svetkivska fell to 2-2. I liked what I saw from Svetkivska in this fight, particularly in the first round. She got taken down, but she was constantly on the attack from her back. When she wasn't defending, she was attacking, and it was pretty split. She was definitely defending against Izawa, but she was also, going for submissions from bottom. She was throwing elbows from bottom. Really good bottom work from Svekivska. But in the second round, Izawa, actually, it was Svekivska that took Izawa down in the second round, but it was Izawa who did even better work than Svekivska did, eventually getting on top and then getting was it armbar. So, by the way, I've done individual reviews for each of the Ryzen 38 bouts. So if you haven't seen them yet, please take the time to go do so. Then just last night, we had Invicta FC49. 7 bouts. Not all of them super exciting, but I'll tell you what, each of them offered something different. First up was Shauna Bannon defeated Nadia Vera in a strawweight bout via unanimous decision. Bannon climbed to 3-0. Vera fell to 3-1. Keep an eye out on Shauna Bannon. Man, she's got some power, and she is very fast to throw up submission attacks on the ground. She is definitely one to keep an eye on. And Vera was getting outworked in the fight, but showed a lot of guts. Very tough young lady is Nadia Vera. Then at bantamweight, Montserrat Rendon defeated Brittany Cloudy via split decision. Rendon climbed to 5-0. Cloudy fell to 4-5. I did not agree with this decision. I thought Cloudy was doing good work and was getting enough done to earn this decision. So I'm not happy with that decision. Then at flyweight, Poliano Battaglia halted a 3-fight losing streak, defeating Helen Peralta via unanimous decision. Battaglia climbed to 9-5. Peralta fell to 5-3. This is a very clinch-heavy, grind-heavy fight, so there wasn't a whole lot of dynamic action going on, but it was interesting in its way, just seeing the use of positioning, particularly. But Battaglia, I picked Peralta in this one. My picks did not go well this past weekend, but I picked Peralta. But Battaglia showing that there's a difference between, UFC quality veteran and, good Invicta fighter. And Battaglia proved me wrong. I thought she was still on the downslide and Peralta would pick it up, but Battaglia got it done. Then at flyweight, also 2 Ultimate Fighter 30 veterans against each other. Caitlin Neal defeated Hannah Guy via unanimous decision. Neal climbed to 6-4. Guy fell to 4-2. Man, this I thought was one of the better bouts on the card. Even though it was fairly one-sided, Neal just attacked the body of Hannah Guy. I can't remember the last time I saw so much work to the body of a fighter. Had Guy hurt on multiple occasions, just couldn't manage to put her away. I think there were a couple times where had Neal kept going to the body, she'd have put her away. But she'd attack her to the body, hurt her to the body, and then start attacking the head. And it's like, no, go to the body more. You have her hurt. She could have finished her. I definitely feel like Neal could have finished her. But as it was an excellent performance by her aside from that. So Caitlin Neal doing very good work. Then at strawweight, down at strawweight, Valeska Machado defeated Liz Tracy via decision. Machado, man, fast and powerful. That was the keys in this fight. She's much faster than Tracy, much more powerful, and her shots were just landing better. I thought Tracy was going to be, a lot more grind heavy, and she tried to be grind heavy. Just Machado was having none of it. Then in the co-main event, Ketlin Souza defeated the short notice Mayu Sawatama via unanimous decision. Souza climbed to 12-3. Sawatama fell to 8-7. Sawatama gave a good account of herself, even though she came in on like 2 weeks' notice. Worked really hard to try to get Souza to the ground. Souza just, too good defensively, too good on the feet, and her takedown defense was just too good. Sawatama just could not really get her down on the ground, and as much as she tried, and just couldn't get going in this fight. Excuse me. So hats off to Ketlin Souza, who was supposed to face Christina Williams. We'll see if that fight gets made in the future. Then finally, in the main event, we had a major upset here, with the challenger, Jillian DeCourcy, defeating the champ, Jessica Del Boni, via submission due to rear naked choke. 4 minutes, 49 seconds of the first round. DeCourcy climbed to 6-3. Del Boni fell to 12-4. Shocker. I mean, this was an absolute shocker. I mean, I'd have to go. Let me see what the odds were on this one. See if there were odds on this one, because DeCourcy had to be a huge underdog. Yeah, DeCourcy was like a plus 335 underdog at according to best fight odds. So huge upset here. Just Del Boni went for a takedown. DeCourcy was able to reverse, get on her back, sunk in the choke. Boom, that was it. Del Boni was done. She was tapping. DeCourcy, at 38 years old, the new Invicta atomweight champion. Also, the first fighter to both debut for Invicta and then go on to capture the championship. So she set an Invicta record. Then this morning in the U.S., we had one championship, 161, a atomweight bout, 115 pounds. Tiffany Teo defeated Ritu Fogat via submission due to rear naked choke. 4 minutes, 52 seconds of the first round. Teo climbed to 11-2. Fogat fell to 7-3. I'll tell you what, the way Teo reversed Fogat, just basically Fogat was trying to go for the legs. Teo just went around one of the arms, like locked her arms around one of Fogat's arms, twisted her around, hopped on, took the back, and sunk in the hooks. From there, it was just nonstop working on that rear naked choke, eventually getting it. Great takedown defense by Teo, and then great reversal as well. Ritu Fogat, her focus for the next however many months until she fights again needs to 100% be on submission defense. That is two straight fights she lost by submission. Lost via armbar to Stamp Fairtex in the second round back in December. 9 months later, here she is losing the rear naked choke in the first round. But I will say, though, Teo, you could tell she was coming down from a bigger weight class. Made weight no problem, and was hydrated according to the weigh-ins, but she was definitely the bigger fighter than Ritu Fogat in this fight, which probably helped. But it was definitely the skill, too, that got the submission. Anyway, that is it for the news. Excuse me, the weekend results, rather. Let's go ahead and move on into the news. By the way, the chat is open, everyone. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to hit me up in the chat. Also, please don't forget to hit that like button. Get that algorithm going for this stream. Draws more people to it. All right, first up in the news. Now that Invicta 49 is over today, Invicta Fighting Championship announced that Invicta FC number 50 will take place on Wednesday, November 16th. Invicta turns 50, event-wise. Location and, bouts to be decided. But we at least have a date now for the next Invicta event. Some news out of the UFC. Bantamweight, top 10 bantamweight Aspen Ladd has been released from the promotion after her most recent weight miss, which caused her fight against Sarah McMahon to be canceled. Dana White, addressed this on Tuesday night at the Contender Series, just said, part of your job is to make weight, and she just missed weight too many times. And I mean, when you're at the point where your weight misses are canceling multiple fights or causing multiple fights to be canceled, I understand it completely. Also, apparently, now, from what I had first heard, was that Sarah McMahon was seeking free agency, but it seems like McMahon has also been removed from the roster. That might mean that she's officially not on the roster. It might mean they're not like activating their matching rights clause. I'm not sure, but as of right now, it seems like McMahon is currently not on the roster. Let me check though. I want to see if she's. They haven't updated their rankings. So McMahon and Ladd are still in the rankings, but they haven't updated them since last Monday, so the 19th. So we'll see. Probably after this weekend, we'll find out. KSW 75 goes down October 14th in Poland. They've added a flyweight bout. Adriana Kreft coming in at 3-0, taking on Petra Chaskova coming in at 6-4. I've seen Chaskova a few times. I know she's fought in Bellator once and Octagon and other like Eastern European promotions before. Then Bellator flyweight Conor Watanabe has signed an exclusive contract extension with them. It's a multiple fight contract extension, so it's not like a new contract. It's basically just adding more fights onto the current one. So I'm not sure if she's going to be getting paid more, or maybe it'll be like she'll get paid more with each fight. Who knows? But she's currently 3-1 with the promotion, with her lone loss coming to the current champ, Liz Carmouche. And then Hexagon 5 goes down October 15th in Germany. I believe that's the first time Hexagon has left France. But they'll be in Germany on October 15th. And they've added a flyweight title bout. Letitia Blott coming in at 3-0-1. I think she's the champ, taking on Miriam Torchanaya or Torchaneva. I did not get her record. Some sad news here. Takeshi, I screwed up the spelling here. Takeshi Nagao was the former head of Smack Girl, and he passed away this past week. If you're not familiar with Smack Girl, please get acquainted, familiarize yourself with it. There should still be some Smack Girl fights up on YouTube. Smack Girl was like one of the original women's MMA promotions. It was in Japan. Mostly, like, it was definitely like early days from like 2000. Like, he was ahead of it from 2004 to 2007. I'm not sure exactly when Smack Girl went under. Let me check Topology. Looks like around 2000. I think they're around to like 2008. Yeah, it looks like their last event was April of 2008. And they started in 2000, around like 2004. So, but it was the early days of women's MMA. They did have multiple weight classes, but they had like limited ground rules. Like I think there might have been a time limit on the ground, but might have been. But also like they didn't allow strikes on the ground. Basically, like you were striking on the feet, you got to the ground, and then it became like a grappling bout. Unless you were like good enough that you could fight under the special rules, which Megumi Fujii was one of those fighters, always fought under the special rules. And then you could have some ground and pound, particularly to the head. But yeah, the former head of Smack Girl has passed away. So women's mixed martial arts has lost a pioneer of sorts. Then UFC 283 goes down January 21st in Brazil. They added a featherweight bout. Josiane Nunes going up to featherweight again, taking on Zara Fan. Might get to see a knockout in that one because Nunes hits. Ooh, she's got bricks in her hands, that's for sure. Waste of a bout, though, at featherweight, if you ask me. And then final bit of news here. The PFL finals go down November 25th at Madison Square Garden in New York. They've added a flyweight bout. Dakota Dacheva coming in at, I believe, 6-0 now. She's taking on Catherine Karagianis coming in at 1-0. That's like an absolute step backwards, excuse me, for Dakota Dacheva. If you're undefeated, you're at 6-0, and then they couldn't find anyone better than a fighter with 1-0 record to face off against her. I mean, come on, PFL. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's women's flyweight. I mean, come on. There's definitely plenty of better fighters than that they could have signed. Two-Face, excuse me. There's plenty of fighters that they could have found better than that to face Dakota Dacheva. Not taking anything away from Catherine Karagianis or Karagianis, however you say her name. Not taking anything away from her because I don't know her. I'm just saying that they could have found a better matchup for Dakota Dacheva, in my opinion. So that's it for the news. Let's talk rankings updates. So we're going to be paying attention to the strawweight rankings because we have an important strawweight ranking fight coming up on Saturday. Actually, we have two strawweight ranking fights, or two fights with ranking implications, I should say, on Saturday. So first up, we have at the bottom there, we have Jessica Penny. Oh, you can't see her with the stupid banner. At the bottom there, you have Jessica Penny at number 15, and she is facing the currently unranked Tabitha Ricci. So if Ricci wins that bout, most likely finds herself moving into that number 15 slot. Of course, if Penny wins, then she basically stays there and doesn't go anywhere. But up in the main event, we have Mackenzie Dern at number 5 taking on number 6, Yan Xiaonan. Of course, if Yan wins, then she'll basically trade places with Dern. If Dern wins, she doesn't move up necessarily, but depending on how she wins, assuming she wins, depending on how she wins, she might only be at number 5, but it definitely puts her right up there for a possible title shot. And we know the UFC wants to get her to a title shot. They've been pushing her like crazy. And Namajunas isn't fighting for a while. Number 2 is facing the champ next in November. Number 3, Marina Rodriguez is facing number 8, Amanda Lemos next. Already has that bout booked. Jessica Andrage. Not sure. Can't remember if Andrage has anything going on right now or not. Let's see here. Andrage does not have a bout coming up. She was supposed to fight at flyweight against Manon Fiorot, and that fight fell through. So we have no idea what's going on with Jessica Andrade right now. So yeah, Mackenzie Dern with an impressive win, could find herself right up there in that title picture. So just keep an eye on the straw weights this weekend. So now let's move into the weekend preview. Keep that screen large. First up, tomorrow night is going to be one on Prime Video 2, the second One Championship event that's going to take place on Amazon Prime Video. We have two bouts. First up, we have Stamp Fairtex taking on Gian Radziwan. Let's look at the stats on this one here. This is on the main card, by the way. Stamp and Gian both coming in at 8-2. Now, Stamp is coming off a loss to the champ Angela Lee in a failed title bid. Got submitted in the first round 6 months ago at 1X. Before that, was riding a 3-fight winning streak, all in the 1 atomweight Grand Prix. Radziwan, on the other hand, is riding 3 straight wins coming into this bout. Most recently fought and defeated Itsuki Hirata via split decision. I believe that was also at 1X. I forgot that was a split decision. I thought she won that outright. But yeah, Shadow Cat riding 3-fight winning streak into this and could come out of this with 4 straight wins. Let's see. Fairtex Stamp is 1 year the elder, 25-24 for Radziwan. They stand the same height, 5 feet 2 inches, 157 centimeters. And almost identical reach, 63-inch, 160 centimeters for Stamp, 62.6-inch, 159 centimeters. So almost identical reach. This could be a good one. You know, everyone's thinking Stamp is going to run away with this fight. And I think a lot of people are underestimating Gian Radziwan. She's decent on the ground. But so is Stamp. Stamp's pretty good too. And Stamp's definitely better on the feet here. But I think if Radziwan can get it to the ground, she can make a difference. But as it is, my pick is going to be Stamp. Probably by decision. But I do think people are underestimating Radziwan here. And they underestimated her when she faced off against Hirata, too. And we saw how that turned out. Then up at the main event, we have for the 1 strawweight 125-pound championship, Seong Jingnan, the champ, welcoming the challenger, Angela Lee. This is the trilogy bout. 2 previous times, each challenged for the other's title. Seong defended her title in the first bout. Second bout, Lee defended her 115-pound title. And now they are facing each other for the 3rd time. I'm going to go through these stats real fast because I just released a full preview on this bout. So you please feel free to go check that out after the conclusion of this live stream. But Seong coming in 17-2, Lee coming in at 11-2. Seong riding 3 straight wins. Most recently defeated Ayaka Miura 8 months ago. Lee riding 2 straight wins. Last defeated Stamp 6 months ago. Before that, though, hadn't fought in like 2.5 years. Let's see. Lee is the younger, 26-34 for Seong. Seong slightly taller, 5 feet 5 inches, 165 centimeters to 5 feet 4 inches, 163 centimeters. Looks like Angela has a slight reach advantage, according to Topology, 66.9-inch, 170 centimeters to 64.2-inch, 163 centimeters for Seong. So I took Seong Jingnan to win this trilogy bout. I just think she has better momentum. She's been more active, so she doesn't have to worry about ring rust. And from what I've seen in her fights, she's been working and making improvements on the type of things that she needed to from the second Lee fight. With Lee, a lot of people are saying, "Oh yeah, she keeps getting better." It's like she basically fought Stamp Fairtex the exact same way she fights all of her other opponents. And that fight ended fast. So how do we know that Lee is actually getting better? I don't know. It's mostly just conjecture. I think Seong's going to defend here. Also on Friday night, we have Combate Global has one fight in the strawweight division. Carolyn Gallardo on the left there taking on Danielle Taylor, UFC veteran Danielle Taylor. And Gallardo is currently the #1 ranked strawweight in Combate. And she was supposed to be fighting Josephine Knudsen, but Knudsen fell out and Dynamite Danielle Taylor stepped in to replace her. Looking at the stats here, Gallardo comes in at 7-4, Taylor at 11-7. Gallardo riding 3 straight wins. Most recently picked up a TKO win 4 months ago over Stephanie Page. Taylor riding 2 straight losses. Most recently lost a decision to Liz Tracy 6 months ago in Invicta. Gallardo is the younger fighter, 26-32 for Taylor. Height is very close here. 5 feet 1 inch, 155 centimeters for Gallardo to 5 foot even, 152 centimeters for Taylor. Looks like Taylor has a longer reach though. 64 inches, 163 centimeters to 62 inches, 157 centimeters for Gallardo. Taking Carolyn Gallardo on this one. For one thing, she's been prepping for this fight. And two, I think she's good enough to stifle Taylor and cut off the cage if Taylor starts doing her lateral movement, basically just nonstop circling away. I think Gallardo's good enough and smart enough to cut off the cage. It's certainly a smaller cage than the UFC octagon, which Taylor would just circle around the whole time. And when it comes to the power shots, Taylor does hit hard, but Gallardo has a freaking beard on her. I mean, she's got a iron jaw on her. So I'm going to go with Gallardo to win. Plus, Taylor's coming in short notice. I tend to favor the fighter that isn't coming in on short notice. So we move to Saturday, and we have Bellator 286. We have a flyweight bout. Sumiko Inaba taking on Nadine Mandial. I do not approve of this matchmaking here. Let's get into it. So Lady Samurai Inaba coming in at 4-0. She's undefeated. Too much Nadine Mandial coming in at 2-5. Obviously, Inaba is undefeated. Mandial is coming in off of a win like a little over a month ago. But before that, she's riding a 4-fight losing streak. 1 by finish, got armbarred. The other 3 by decision. Let's see. Mandial's a year younger, 30-31 for Inaba. Mandial will have the height advantage, 5 feet 7 inches, 170 centimeters to 5 feet 4 inches, 163 centimeters for Inaba. Mandial also has the reach advantage, 69.5 inch, 177 centimeters to 64 inches, 163 centimeters for Inaba. So this is obviously meant to be like a gimme fight for Inaba. Now these two have faced up before in the amateurs, but here's the thing: Inaba beat her. And if I remember correctly, Inaba finished her. Yeah, Inaba finished her at 1 minute and 5 seconds into the first round back in October of 2018. So Inaba already has a win over Mandial. And now that they're pros, Inaba's 4-0, Mandial's 2-5. Now, could Mandial pull the upset here? Sure. I mean, we've had Bellator try to build up these prospects and give them easy fights, and it's blown up in our face before. I don't know, though. Having seen both of them, I got to go with Inaba here. Got to go with the obvious favorite. All right, so next up, we're going to move on to UFC Vegas 61. Now, I am going to clip this next segment after I'm done live streaming, and I'm going to clip it into a separate recording to try to get some more views for the people that won't watch the live stream. So I'm gonna try to do. So I'm gonna do like basically like a second intro here, and then we'll get into the fights themselves. All right, welcome back to WMMA Now with your host, Chuck Stevenson. Tonight, we're going to be doing a preview for the ladies' bouts of UFC Vegas 61, a.k.a. UFC Fight Night, Dern versus Gian. We've got 3 ladies' bouts coming at you this evening. One is a catchweight, one at, one at actually, and then the next 2 are at strawweights. Both of the next 2 are at strawweights. 2 of these bouts are going to have rankings potential, both of them being the strawweight bouts. Definitely have ranking implications. So let's go ahead and get into these bouts. So first up, we have the catchweight bout. Yulia Stoyarenko taking on Chelsea Chandler. This is Chandler's UFC debut. So it'll be interesting to see how she fares in the big show. She's been doing well down in Invicta. Stoyarenko coming off of basically a bone-breaking submission win in her last bout over Jessica Rose Clark. So should make things very interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats on this one. So Stoyarenko coming in at 10-6-1. Chandler coming in at 4-1. Stoyarenko, as you can see, coming off that win over Jessica Rose Clark about just under 3 months ago. Before that, was riding a 3-fight losing streak, 2 by decision, 1 by submission. Chandler, on the other hand, lost her pro debut and has since won 4 straight. All of her fights have come under the Invicta banner. Her last fight was 4 months ago, where she defeated Courtney King via decision. Let's see. Chandler is 1 year younger, 28, to Stoyarenko's 29 years. Looks like Chandler slightly taller at 5 feet 8 inches, 173 centimeters to 5'7", 170 centimeters for Stoyarenko. However, according to Topology, they have an identical reach of 69 inches, 175 centimeters. So those are your stats on this one. So I'm going to be taking Yulia Stoyarenko for this one. I mean, Chandler has some heavy hands, but nothing I think that Stoyarenko hasn't seen before. Stoyarenko's been in there with some absolutely heavy-handed opponents, and she's not easy to finish. And I think what's going to happen is Stoyarenko is going to look to come out and do the same thing she does a lot of her fights, go out there and get that early armbar. And I haven't seen enough of Chandler's grappling to really be all that impressed. I mean, I know she trains with she has trained with the Diaz brothers before, but hasn't really looked like it to me. I'm going to take Stoyarenko by submission. Now, whether or not it happens in the first round, not sure, but I am going to take Stoyarenko by decision. She's a more experienced fighter. She's been in there with much better caliber of opponents than Chandler has. And I just think that, she has more grit, I think, and has more ways to win. So then we move on to a strawweight bout. This is also, I believe, on the prelims. Jessica Penny, the number 15th ranked strawweight, taking on Tabitha Ricci, who is currently unranked. And by the way, shout out to, I forget his name, on Instagram for this poster and the other one. Let me look his name up here. Danilo Almeida on Instagram did this poster and the one for Chandler versus Stoyarenko. So check out Danilo Almeida art on Instagram. But this should be a good one. 2 very good grapplers who absolutely know what they're doing on the ground. I mean, Ricci's a stud on the ground, but Penny, very heavy control on the ground. Also a black belt. Probably not the same level of black belt as Ricci, but she is one of the most flexible fighters you will ever see. And just she's very tall and long and really knows how to use those legs on the ground. So this should be interesting. Let's go ahead and look at the stats on this one. Penny coming in at 14-6. Baby Shark coming in at 7-1. Now, Penny's coming in off of a decision loss to Emily Ducote 2 months ago. Had 2 straight wins before that over Lupita Godinez and then Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Ricci coming in on 2 straight wins over Maria Oliveira and then Polyana Viana, both by decision. And that was after she took a short notice flyweight fight, which was her UFC debut, which she lost. Age is a big factor in this fight. Ricci is 27 to 39 years for Jessica Penny, so 12-year age difference. Pretty big. But look at this height difference here. 5'5", 166 centimeters, and I honestly thought Penny was taller than that, to 5'1", 155 centimeters for Ricci. And then the reach extends that well too. 67 inches, 170 centimeters for Penny, 62 inches, 157 centimeters for Tabitha Ricci. So I'm taking Jessica Penny to win this one. On the feet, Penny has the length, she has the reach, and I just haven't seen that much out of Ricci on the feet to really be that impressed by her. And I mean, if it gets into the clinch, Penny definitely with the knees in the clinch. Now on the ground is where things get really interesting. But I still think Penny is going to have a better time on the ground. Now Ricci is phenomenal grappler, like very high level, has won like serious, grappling competitions. I think either Pan Am or world champion. But she's very small for a UFC strawweight, whereas Penny is definitely not. And Ricci has struggled against bigger strawweights before. Maria Oliveira and Polyana Viana, both bigger, had nice size advantages on Ricci, and Ricci, struggled with them on the ground, couldn't quite get the finish here. So I'm going to go with Jessica Penny. Also, just the age is going to play a factor. Penny might tire out, but she also just has so much more high-level MMA experience than Tabitha Ricci does. So I'm going to go with Jessica Penny. So then we move on to the main event at strawweight, number 5 ranked strawweight Mackenzie Dern taking on 6th ranked Yan Xiaonan. This is going to be an interesting bout. It's not the strongest main event, but it's the strongest main event viable fight on this card. I think a lot of this bout is going to come down to who is less sloppy or who can make their sloppiness work for them. And I'll get to that in a minute. But let's get into the stats on this one. So Dern coming in at 12-2. Yan coming in at 15-3. So Yan has more experience, one more loss than Dern though. Dern coming in off of a split decision win over Tisha Torres 5 months ago. Before that, lost a decision to Marina Rodriguez just under a year ago. Before that was riding a winning streak. Yan, however, has lost 2 straight. First to Carla Esparza via TKO on the ground a year and 4 months ago. And then most recently dropped a split decision, very contentious split decision to Marina Rodriguez 6 months ago. Before that, she hadn't lost since 2010. So she'd gone over a decade without losing. Let's see here. Youth favors Dern. She's 29 to 33 years old for Yan. Yan slightly taller, 5 feet 5 inch, 166 centimeters to 5'4", 163 centimeters for Dern. 63 identical reach here at 63 inches, 160 centimeters. Okay, so, I was saying who fights less sloppy or who can make their sloppiness work for them. They're both brawlers on the feet. Okay, I mean, neither of them are the most technical of strikers on the feet. Now, Gian has way, way more weapons on the feet than Mackenzie Dern does. Dern basically comes forward winning huge punches in order, and the whole purpose of that is to get into the clinch and try to work for takedowns from there. Yan will throw punches. She'll throw kicks. She'll throw low kicks. She'll throw side kicks. She'll throw push kicks. She'll use her footwork more. Dern doesn't really have that kind of footwork. Yan is definitely the more versatile, more multi-dimensional striker. But that said, she mostly throws like the same few combinations, and they're not the tightest, I should say. And she can be, forced into the clinch. We saw that in the Rodriguez fight. Like I said, Dern is mostly focused on getting the fight to the ground, and she'll force her way into the clinch to do that. She'll come barreling forward, winning big punches, and she'll eat a punch to land a punch, and she'll eat a punch in order to get to that clinch. She's very strong chin. It's one of those cases where until someone really rings her bell or knocks her out, that's pretty much going to be the extent of what she does on the feet, because no one is forcing her to improve on that factor. Now, on the ground, Jan does not want to be on the ground with Dern. That's a known factor. The question is going to be, can Dern get it there? Because let's be honest here, Dern does not have good takedowns. She's still very much a BJJ fighter when it comes to the ground, which means her takedowns are suck, basically. That's why she basically has to get to the clinch and then muscle opponents to the ground, because her takedowns just aren't that good. However, like I said, whoever is the least sloppiest or whoever makes their sloppiness works for them. Jan basically has to fight an almost perfect fight to win. I just don't see her finishing Mackenzie Dern on the feet. Certainly don't see her finishing her on the ground. I mean, that's just not realistic. I don't see her being able to finish Dern on the feet, though. Dern has just shown herself to be too durable on the feet, as it were. So Jan basically has to fight a perfect fight on the feet, avoid the clinch for the most part, and stay striking at range, stay landing good strikes, avoid having her kicks caught, which can set up a takedown. She just has to be so tight and just so precise in everything that she does. Now, I can certainly see her doing that for a round or two, but she's going to have to do it for 5 straight rounds, 25 minutes. For Dern, she really only needs to get this fight to the ground once per round, we'll say, if it even gets to another round after she gets it to the ground. Now, like I said, what she does best is barreling forward, throwing those winning punches, and she does manage to find the clinch against her opponents more often than not. The problem with Jan's problem is that she doesn't have the best takedown defense. Now, granted, we've only really seen her taken to the ground by Carla Esparza, who is the best wrestler in the division right now. But I can definitely see Dern managing to get her there as well if Jan isn't careful. And like I said, Jan cannot make any mistakes in this bout. I see that being a very difficult time for her. So I can definitely see Dern eating a few punches, getting into the clinch, and then getting Gian to the ground. And from there, it's practically just a matter of time. So I'll be cheering for Yan Xiaonan because I am not a Mackenzie Dern fan, but I will be picking Mackenzie Dern to win this bout. So there you have it, my picks for UFC Vegas 61, aka UFC Fight Night, Dern versus Yan. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to WMMA Now, the best, most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Okay, so thank you to everyone watching the live stream for their patience on that. And that is the last bout that I have to discuss for this evening. So we've got a busy weekend ahead of fights. And I wanted to do a weekend recap either last weekend or the weekend before, and I couldn't get to it. But my weekends are a lot freer now than they were the last few weeks. So we'll try to do a weekend recap on Sunday night. Hopefully I'll be able to get some fight reviews done before that, because then the recap just throws that all off. But that's really all I have for tonight. Now, tomorrow night, 1 on Prime Video 2. I've already scheduled a live stream fight companion. It's going to be for the main card only. I'm skipping the prelims because they don't have any women's MMA bouts. There is the kickboxing, or is it Muay Thai bout between Anissa Mexon and Dankonfa, whatever her name is. But that's not enough for me to want to do a fight companion for however long those prelims are going to take, in addition to the main card. But tune in tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern time, I believe is the time. But let me be sure on that. Yeah, I believe it's 10 p.m. for the main card, but check, it's already scheduled on the channel. Keep an eye out for that one. We'll be doing a live fight companion for the main card of 1 on Prime Video number 2. Also, I know I said this before, but if you are new, please hit that like button. Helps the channel grow. It just well, it doesn't necessarily help the channel grow necessarily, but it helps get the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm going, and noticing that the people are watching the stream. So the more people hit the like button, the more people will watch it. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to WMMA Now. You know, I say this all the time. The best, fastest growing women's mixed martial arts channel on YouTube. And I don't just say that to smoke up my own ass, okay? I say that because I believe it. This is the most well-rounded WMMA channel on YouTube, certainly. Certainly cover more promotions, more fighters across the world than any other WMMA channel. Try to give you the biggest mix of types of content. And hoping to do more interviews in the future. They're not my top priority, but I know that people do like them. So we'll see about that. But really, that's all I have for you tonight. You can't tell by looking at me. I'm exhausted right now. So pretty much going to be going straight to bed after this. But anyway, let me know your thoughts if you're watching this. Final chance for the chat. If you have anything to say. Didn't have too many live viewers tonight. Didn't help that I started late. But if you're watching this on the replay, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, please hit that like button. I am exhausted, so I'm going to be going to bed. Oh, if you're on Twitter, if you're not on Twitter, don't get on Twitter. But if you are on Twitter, @NowWMMA is the channel. I live tweet during pretty much all the fights that I cover on the show. So check it out. Also, I post links to all of my videos there. And any fight news I see or any events coming up that I see on Twitter, I will retweet it. So keep an eye. It's a great source for news. But that's all I have for you tonight. So I will see you hopefully tomorrow night for the one on Prime Video 2, number 2 Fight Companion. Now, we'll see you next time.